By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Benjamin Franklin said this. You need to appreciate in your context. Hello everyone, welcome to Exam B. I am Chandraprakash Joshi, former AGM Reserve Bank of India. In this video, we are discussing another 20 questions. This is the sixth video in this series, and these questions are going to be useful for your Phase 2 exam of RBI Grade B, and Extreme B classes are already going on. Our faculty members are teaching in offline sessions. Dr. Sharma from Sushil sir preparing students for writing their descriptive questions. This is India's only course for offline and online learning for RBI Grade B exam. You have the opportunity to study in a focused environment. If you are passionate about RBI Grade B, I am coming to this 100th question which I asked in the last video: who publishes Human Development Index and report? Very easy one actually for sincere student, but sometimes easy question also become difficult in the exam. The correct answer is UNDP. And as I said in the last video, HDI is one of the favorite topic for RBI, and in year 2020, UNDP introduced a new metric to reflect the impact caused by each country's per capita carbon emissions. So it is that planetary pressure adjusted HDI, which is called PHDI. India's rank 131 out of the 189 countries on HDI and 123 on PHDI. If the following are correct regarding the CRR movement over the last few years. CRR was reduced to 3.5% of NDTL with effect from March 28. It was restored to 4% in the two phases of 0.25 with effective from March 27, 2021 and May 20 to 21. CRR had been increased to 4.5% with effect from May 21, 2022. The correct answer is only 3. CRR has been increased, and this is the latest one. You have to remember this. And if you see the journey of the CRR in this time, in the last 2 years, so 2022 RBI reduced CRR because that time at the onset of the COVID, the priority was to provide more liquidity in the market, reduced to 3% of the NDTL done for a year, and after 1 year CRR was restored to the pre-pandemic level of 4% in two phases, 0.5% each, means each phase. And then in May 2022, RBI increased CRR by 50 BPS to 4.5 to withdraw the excess liquidity from the system. This 0.5% increase is going to withdraw 87,000 crore. I discussed in earlier video also. And Exam helps you make your preparation 50% faster. It happens because we have crisp note, we have the content covering the entire syllabus of the current affairs, and this BPDI you can download for free. And we have quizzes chapter wise, section wise. We have the feature of make my test, the test which is applicable to your level of difficulty. Next question is: scheduled commercial banks are permitted to undertake credit card business either independently or in tie-up arrangement with the other card issuing banks or NBFCs with the approval of their board, and are required to hold how many net worth? So what is the net worth requirement to undertake the credit card business? It is again 100 crore. So remember, I asked similar question about NBFCs. What shall be their net worth fund? And now this one is for scheduled commercial bank who have net worth of 100 crore and above. They are permitted to do this credit card business either independently or in tie-up with the other credit card issuing bank or NBFCs. And this is excluding small finance bank and RRBs. RRBs are permitted to issue credit card in collaboration with the sponsor bank. RRB is a sponsor bank. Next one, according to the recent guideline RBI, what would be the minimum credit rating of deposits of NBFC from any of the SEBI registered credit rating agency? So this is BBB minus. BBB negative is the rating. The minimum investment grade rating shall be BBB negative. The NBFC having net owned fund of 25 lakh and above shall accept the public deposit unless it has obtained minimum investment grade or other specified credit rating for fixed deposit from any of the approved credit rating agency at least once a year. Next one, the individual housing loan in terms of the which risk weight were rationalized irrespective of the amount for all new housing loans sanctioned from October 2020 and up to March 2022 and has been extended for loan sanction till March 23. In this aspect, what is the risk weight for the housing loans with LTV ratio lesser than 80%? Loan to value ratio. This is another knowledge here you have to know, that LTV is loan to value ratio, the value of the security. Say if LTV is 80%, it means a house having 1 crore value is given 80 lakh loan. So here 35% is the risk weight, and if the LTV is higher, you see the risk weight increases, because as I said, for 1 crore house, here you have given loan of more than 80 lakh. So here the exposure is higher, so the risk increases. And the standard asset provisioning, standard means which are not NPA, these are standard asset, right? That asset provisioning of 0.25 will continue to apply in such loans also, but the risk weight is different for LTV of less than 100 and less than 80 and more than 80. As per the IMF, India is expected to become USD 5 trillion economy by which year, as against India's vision of achieving by which year? So India versus IMF. So India is expecting to become 5 trillion by 25, while IMF say it will take 2 years more by 27. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2019 envisages making India a 5 trillion economy by 24-25. But IMF said it will take 2 more years. Which of the following correctly describe demographic dividend? Another thing which you are also going to use in your descriptive answer and maybe in interview also. So what is demographic dividend? What is correct about it? The correct answer here is first and second, because working age population refers to this 21 to 59 is not correct. The demographic dividend is the economic growth potential that results from a shifting population age structure with a substantial portion of the population in the working age group, and working age group is defined 15 years to 64 years, because here we are not talking about the government job. It is not only for say grade B job that you need minimum 21 years and then you retire at 60 years. So that is not how the working age is defined, because if you see outside in the world in private jobs, so people start working early and people used to continue even after the age of 60. Which of the following statement is correct? PMKMY launched in 19 aims to provide a social security net for all small and marginal farmers by way of the pension. Small and marginal farmers are one who owns cultivable land up to 2 hectares. So you shall know, marginal is up to 1 hectare, small is up to 2. A minimum fixed pension of 3,000 per month is provided to the eligible farmers on attaining the age of 60 years. So all statements are correct here. The scheme is voluntary and contributory in nature with an entry age of 18 to 40 years. And the beneficiary is required to contribute 100 rupees per month at a median entry age of 29 years, where the central government also contribute equal amount in the pension fund. Rupees 100 crore allocated to this scheme in the budget 22-23. It is a recent one. In addition to this, above, Government of India has also introduced following voluntary contributory pension scheme. LIC is the fund manager. So when you read all this from the BPDI, you always find these kind of additional information, and which is very relevant. Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan, and this is for old age protection and social security of the organized worker. National Pension Scheme for Traders and Self-Employed Person Yojana, scheme for old age protection and social security of the shopkeepers, retail traders, self-employed person. Which of the following is the revised definition of the MSME? Which of the following statement is incorrect about that? These type of statement based questions are very frequent in the phase 2 exam. So read these options carefully and pause the video here, because for the interest of the time I am going to the correct answer, which is the new definition of MSME is based on 2 criteria, that is investment in the plant and machinery and the annual profit of the enterprise. I showed you earlier that it is not annual profit but it is annual turnover. understand the difference between the two. Maximum investment plant and machinery for small enterprises rupees 50 crore. No. If you see, I showed this table earlier also. Minimum investment in plant and machinery for micro is 1 and for small is 10. For medium it is 50 crore, and this is the turnover definition. The revised definition follows common criteria for manufacturing and service enterprise. Yeah, so these are the common criteria because there is no differentiation of the service and manufacturing which was there in the earlier definition. Value of the export is not included in the annual turnover of the enterprise for the purpose of classification. Yeah, this is not talking anything about the export because this definition is talking about turnover and investment in plant and machinery. Very clear? You have to remember this table. Which of the following is not an institution in the World Bank group? You have to remember the name of the World Bank institution and their major purpose, what they are working for. So these are the 5 institutions. IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which gives loan for reconstruction and development. IDA, International Development Association. IFC, International Finance Corporation. Mainly this does investment, including investment in profit-making companies who are helping in objective of the World Bank. MEGA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, and ICSID, International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. So there are disputes, so that goes to this agency. Which of the following statement is correct? Again, you read all the statement, and this is about Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So it replaced the earlier 2 insurance scheme, namely NAIS, National Agricultural Insurance Scheme, and NAI, modified NAIS. It covers crop loss due to the prevented sowing risk, post-harvest losses, localized calamities, but exclude loss due to war risk. It is a strong statement, and government allocated 16,000 crore in the recent budget. This one is not correct because this scheme is launched by merging these 2 schemes, and it excludes any risk due to war or nuclear risk. Now this year the allocation is 15,500 crore against 16,000 allocation the last year, and in this farmers have to pay premium of 2% of the sum insured for the Kharif crop and 1.5% for the Rabi crop. Which of the following represent the number of stock units here that a company can issue as stated in the Memorandum of Association? So what is that called? So in MOA is basically constitutional document for the company. So it is mentioned that what can be the authorized capital, means a capital which company can authorize, the maximum capital company can authorize is mentioned in the MOA. So what happens if the company wants to increase this, if they want to issue more capital? So they will revise the MOA, they will have to update the MOA, and the part of that capital which is issued is called issued capital. And if company has issued certain amount of share but these shares are not paid up, so certain part, suppose company has allotted 1 lakh share but only 80,000 are subscribed, so 80,000 multiplied by the price will become the paid up capital, right? Most of the situation issued will become the paid up capital. Reserve capital shows the part of the issued and subscribed capital that the company will not call for unless the company goes into the liquidation. So that is the reserve amount rest with the company. This is a voluntary creation, so company can create some reserve for any urgency situation. RBI has revised the minimum net worth requirement for non-bank Bharat bill payment operating unit to what amount? It is 25 crore. And Bharat bill payment system is an interoperable platform for the bill payment. This functions as a tiered structure with NCPI being the Bharat bill payment center unit as a single authorized entity operating BBPS and BBPOU as authorized operational unit working in adherence to the standard set up by NPCI. Certificate of deposits are issued in the minimum denomination of CDs. CDs is certificate of deposits. So minimum denomination for issuing certificate of deposit is 5 lakh. These are money market instrument issued by banks, small finance bank, RRB, so alternate to raise the term money from the market participant. Minimum denomination of 5 lakh and then in the multiple of 5 lakh afterwards. Can have tenure of 7 days to 1 year. So that's why it is short term. In case of the bank, and it can go to up to 3 years, 1 year to 3 years, so they cannot do it short run, AIFIs. So for AIFI it is 1 to 3 years. RBI proposed to extend the Basel III capital regulation to all India financial institutions, AIFIs, and minimum total capital against risk weighted requirement for the same age. Here it is 9%. So AIFIs are required to maintain minimum tier 1 capital of 9% against their CRAR. So capital to risk weighted ratio should be 9% on an ongoing basis, other than the capital conservation buffer and the counter cyclical buffer. So these institutions should have minimum total capital of 9% from April 2022, along with a minimum capital buffer of 2.5%. Minimum common equity tier 1 capital would be 5.5, while the tier 1 capital requirement is proposed 7%. For NHB, since the accounting year is July-June, the implementation shall commence from 1st of the July. What is the full form of TREDs? And I have used this term earlier also. This is Trade Receivables Discounting System, discussed in earlier video. So this term, please remember, it's a mechanism set up to discount the trade receivables that will help the MSME. As MSME gets the order from the corporate, it takes time in settling up their payments, so the bills generated by these MSMEs are discounted. So it's a invoice discounting system. The invoice is uploaded by buyer or supplier depending on the method of the discounting. GDP alone cannot symbolize the development of a country. Which of the following statements supports this? The GDP overlooks the contribution of the social capital, that is of all formal and the informal network, institutions and culture to support human well-being. Statement B is many activities in the economy, that is natural capital asset and their services, are not evaluated in monetary terms. C says many countries having lower per capita GDP are ranked higher on HDI due to better distribution of the income and social impact. And D, economic impact of natural calamity is not measured in GDP. This is interesting, and all are correct here except this, because natural calamities will definitely affect GDP, right? The damage which will be done by the natural calamities will be accounted in GDP. In 2021, IMF made a general allocation of SDRs to the tune of 456 billion. Easy to remember, but you are not supposed to remember this number. What was India's share in this allocation made by IMF? India's share was 12.57 billion. SDR is an artificial currency instrument used by IMF. The value of SDR is a basket of currency. We discussed this earlier. First weight is with USD, second is Euro, and third is Chinese Yuan, the weight of which has been increased. SDR holding is one of the component of the forex reserve of any country. IMF makes the general SDR allocation to its member in proportion of their existing quotas. So the Board of Governors of the IMF has approved a general allocation of 456 billion in August 21, to which India's share was 12.57 billion. If we convert it into the exchange rate of USD, so it will be around 17.86 billion USD. And with this, the total SDR holdings in India stands at SDR 13.66. Before that, it was less, right? And before that, the SDR allocation was done in 2009 during the global financial crisis, when IMF allocated equivalent to $250 billion of the SDRs to the members. Within the following is not 100% subsidiary of RBI, DICGC, Bharti Reserve Bank Note Mudra Private Limited, both are RBI full subsidiary. RBI Bank Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, I discussed about that. This is also fully RBI's. National Center for Financial Education, it is not 100%. Indian Financial Technology and Allied Services. So now you know the correct answer here, and this is coming from the RBI annual report. Only important thing you have to see in the annual report, you are not supposed to read read the entire report. That will be too much of investment of your time. So here you can see National Center for the Financial Education percentage holding is 30% for RBI, and rest all it is 100%. This NCFE is a not-for-profit Section 8 company promoted by RBI and SEBI and IRDA and PFRD to promote the financial education across India for all sections of the population as per the National Strategy of Financial Education of Financial Stability and Development Council. RBI, SEBI, IRDA each contributed 30% while PFRDA contributed 10% in this. And RBI invested 100 crore for creation of RBI Innovation Hub, Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. For each of the identification of the parties undertaking cross-border financial transaction, AD category 1, ADR authorized dealer category 1 banks, authorized dealer for foreign exchange, have been directed to obtain legal entity identifier number from the resident entities, non-individual in respect of the capital or current account transaction of what amount and above under FEMA 99. And this is effective from October 2022. So this amount has been increased to 50 crore. This legal entity identifier is a 20-character global reference number conceived by G20 that uniquely identify every legal entity or structure that is party to the financial transaction in that particular jurisdiction. So internationally, LAI is implemented and maintained by Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundation. Legal Entity Identifier India Limited, subsidiary of CCIL, is the only local operating unit in India. This will assign LEIs to any legal entity, including banks, mutual fund, partnership companies, trust, holding, or any SPVs, asset management companies, or any other. For the ease of identification of the parties undertaking cross-border financial transaction, AD category 1 bank have been directed to obtain LEI number from the resident entities in respect of the capital and current account transaction of 50 crore and above. Effective from October 2022, this is under FEMA 19. Now this question you have to answer, that is annual financial statement or budget is placed in parliament under the article. So sometimes these kind of questions are also asked and the answer is going to be interesting. Write your answer in the comment if you already know it. We will discuss it in the next time. Till then, continue preparing for RBI Grade B and all competitive exam. Lost time is never found again. Your time is very precious and we make preparation 50% faster.